Alright, I want to take a few minutes to go over your quiz with you because there's things on the quiz that I didn't count wrong, but I will count wrong on the test. I'm going to be a little bit more nitpicky. So let's look at the quiz. If you have yellow, look at questions 1 and 2 to start. If you have peach, flip over to the back. We're starting at question 3. It's the same 4 questions, it's in a different order, but you should be able to follow along. Now, if you're trying to figure out a number on this one yellow, 3 peach, which one method you should use, you can mark on the picture what you know. Side 1, side 2, those are easy. But now we have to figure out the third fact. Well, if you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, then we're always going to have congruent angles. And the congruent angles go from parallel line to transversal. So it's those that are congruent. So our third fact is angle BCA, that's the top one, is congruent to angle DAC. Okay. So now you have two sides and the angle in between. So now we know the method is side angle side. Alright, and then when you go to fill in the triangle, if you start with ABC, then you're going to go CDA to match it. Alright, let's look at this proof. So they tell you that CA is congruent to TO and CA is parallel. Well, you know that's going to give you a side. You know you're going to have vertical angles, so that's going to give you an angle. And anytime you have parallel lines, then you're going to have congruent angles. In this case, they're here. So let's see how we mark it in the proof. Well, two lines being parallel, that's given. Because the lines are parallel, we know those angles are congruent because of the alternate interior angle theorem. If you didn't write theorem on the quiz, I didn't take points off, but I will on the test. You have to know the difference between the theorem and the converse. Alright, then a lot of people missed 3, and you said that CA was parallel to TO, but we already said that. The given you're missing is this one. CA is congruent to TO. Okay, then they want the vertical angle theorem. With the vertical angle theorem, those vertical angles, R has to be in the middle, so the angle CRA is congruent to angle TRO. Now that you've got your facts in there, because if you counted, here's 1 congruent, 2 congruent, 3 congruent. Now you can say the triangles are congruent, and your proved line has to match this one exactly. So you have CAR is congruent to OTR, and the method that we used was angle, angle, side. Alright, let's flip your papers over. We're looking at 3 on the yellow and 4 on the peach. Alright, so let's see what they tell us here. They tell us that the top and bottom are parallel, and they tell us the left and the right are parallel. So if we're looking for our 3 facts, I know the side in the middle is congruent, but when I have parallel lines, I'm now going to have congruent angles. So let's figure out which one. So if A and B are parallel, that's this one, and there's my transversal, then B is the angles that are congruent. So that would be angle ABC is congruent to angle DCB, and this would be the alternate interior angle theorem. Okay? Now, some of you had the correct angles, but they didn't go with the right one. If you list these yellow lines first, then this angle, these green angles, have to be listed first as well. If you have both of these parallel statements in the same line, that's fine. But if the yellow set goes first, these green angles that we just wrote underneath them need to go first. You can't have them mixed and matched. All right, now let's look at the left and the right being parallel. So when that happens, and I draw in the angles from parallel line to transversal, it's those black ones that are congruent. So I'll call those ACB is congruent to CBD. And that works also because of the alternate interior angle theorem. Okay, but again, since the blue are listed second, and these black angles that we just wrote are listed second as well. So now Here's an angle. Here's a second angle. Here's your side. You have your three facts. Now you can say that these triangles are congruent, and the reason you can say that, well, the side is in between your black and red angle, so that's why that is angle, side, angle. Okay, on the last one, you got to figure out what the missing things are. So, well, they gave you a side. That's this. Now, nothing else is marked, but we know this. Okay, they didn't have to mark it. We already know that. That's the second side. So what we're missing is a side. So you can't fill this blank with angles. You're missing a side. So here's the third side, and that side is BC is congruent to AD. Okay, hopefully that helps answer questions on your quiz.